Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another stellar episode of The Lion's Den. I'm your host, Venezia Leone, and today I sat down with Christina Hawatmeh, founder and CEO of Scopio, a global creative marketplace connecting brands with tens of thousands of photographers, illustrators, and artists across more than 190 countries. In this episode, we go all the way back to the moment Christina realized that authentic images shared on social media were being lost instead of valued. She shares how that insight became the foundation for Scopio and how she navigated the challenges of building a marketplace as a non-technical founder. We talk about the realities of scaling, the constant, quote, booby traps entrepreneurs face, and why relationships, partnerships, and service providers played such a critical role in Scopio's early growth. Christina also shares powerful lessons on long-term relationship building and what it really takes to move from a first conversation to a partnership. We wrap up by looking at what long-term success looks like for Christina and how she thinks about building something that truly serves people. It's an awesome conversation about scaling and long-term relationships. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, Christina. Thank you so much for joining me on the Lion's Den today.
Hey, everyone.
So you have built Scopio into this global creative marketplace, and you've worked with big brands, Microsoft, Meta, Disney. I want to go all the way back to the beginning. What problem were you originally trying to solve?
They say yesterday I was at a dinner and my friend was telling me, Christina, you're a real entrepreneur. And I said, why do you say that? And he said, because a lot of people want to start a business to be cool, or they go through these huge ups and downs. And some people just fall into entrepreneurship and then they just build. And that's something that you have been able to do. So I think it's probably like in you, it's like a quiet lion inside of you. And then once something clicks, it's just no going back from there. So for me, I was a grad student at Columbia University in New York. I had went there because I wanted to do something big with my life. And I remember just seeing pictures from Twitter at the time on TV and the news and how people wanted the rights to get them. And I thought, oh my God, like when I look to my left or my right, this girl is editing her photo for 20 minutes before she puts it on Instagram, or we're sharing this important image out on Twitter at the time. And I thought, I want to save those. Like, I want those to distribute them. I don't want them to get lost in social media. That's value and that's our lives. And for the first time ever in the world, we're actually able to see things from all over the world. So how can we distribute that through the internet? And I thought if I was able to kind of create the true, authentic world and put that into the internet, then I would have done something really big with my life. So I met an engineer and we built this like hashtag AI system at the time. This is like 10 years ago, that would find images on social media and then message and be like, hi, Venezia, we love your photo. We think you should sell it. Go here. And so we were able to do that. And now today I have more than 3 million images and 45,000 people every day that upload and sell their pictures, and now drawings, illustrations, anything that they own in less than 3 minutes and can distribute it. Wow. And then we layered a gig economy on top of that so people can be hired for their special and unique skills in the visual arts, photography, illustration, video, 3D. And that's why big businesses like the Disneys and Microsofts of the world come to us, because of that global nature of the platform, because of the uniqueness of the content and access to these really talented people that are waiting to get paid for something that they're good at.
Yeah. And I totally agree with a lot of the technology and SaaS and all of these offerings now. Like, so many people can be wonderful creators. And so you seeing that and saying, okay, well, how do I give these people a platform makes total sense. So at what point did you realize, like, as a founder, you have this idea, you're working with this engineer. At what point did you realize, okay, this actually is going to be a business and not just like something I'm trying to get people to put their content on?
I started to get awards, and like I immediately, when I thought of this, I went on like the front cover of the newspaper of Columbia University, like student invents photo app, like, and it became like a big deal. And it was kind of weird because then I would get an email like, you should apply to the accelerator within the university. And then I would get in, and then I got like more things there. Then I would meet investors. And once I understood like technology and its power, I was just like addicted to it because I remember being like, as soon as I had joined that accelerator, there was these two brothers, they had invented some like molecule or something. And within a few months, they sold their business for $100 million. And I was like, you can just have an idea and then sell your company for $100 million. Like, what? So I thought, why are people going and trying to save the world like by working at the United Nations when you could just like build something that affects millions of lives or like helps people all over the world? So I felt like I would take that passion for helping people and then figure out a way to do it as big as I could. And technology, I felt like was this really cool avenue to do that in.
Yeah, absolutely. It always is interesting, especially as I talk to a lot of founders, like the different ideas and products and companies that you can form that really do help people, achieve whatever that end goal is. So it sounds like at the beginning, it was this kind of whirlwind of positive feedback for you of, building this. But was there kind of a first challenge or a couple first challenges that forced you to rethink like how you were building it and how you were scaling it once you got some momentum?
Oh my gosh, every step of the way in the beginning was a trap. Like as soon as I would get somewhere, it would shut down. And it was like, you should stop. It was, you think the game is over, the game is over, the game is over. And then you would meet one person or you have just like one little inkling and you're like, maybe I shouldn't give up yet. Maybe I should go to the next level of this game, this video game. So a lot of it had to do with, first, I was a non-technical founder. I discovered AI and I was obsessed with it. And with like building, I did like a coding for entrepreneurs class. I wasn't good at that. Then I was like, didn't really understand how to sell. Like, what was I going to sell? I just was like, this is really cool. I want to get all these pictures here, but then how do I make a business out of that? So first it was the engineering challenge. How do I build this? Then I convinced a bunch of people to help me. After that, I was like, now what do? I don't know how to sell and I don't know what to do. So I figured out this amazing loophole, which is partnerships and enterprises and big companies and budgets there. And I was able to kind of use my first big customer, which I got as from a cold email to basically build that marketplace. So I started to take orders kind of like McDonald's. Like I would take orders and then I would use that to build my marketplace. And I kept going until I was able to get like a critical volume, which I thought at that time was 30,000 photos. I was like, wow, 30,000 photos. That's amazing. Like up on my website. And then it was like 30,000 a day, and then, wow, who are these people? Oh, look at this. Like there's signing up from Indonesia or Philippines or Nigeria. And then I got really into the people that were joining. So I started working kind of for them. But I think as an entrepreneur, you're always in trouble. Your back's always up against the wall, whether it's you don't have enough money and you don't know what you're going to do and you get this big bill and you don't know how to handle it. Or you face a legal challenge, a development challenge, and the sales challenge. Like I call them all like booby traps. Like they all tell you the game is over. Like they all tell you, okay, this is the end of the game. And then you're just like, now what do I do? So that's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, what do you feel like what really motivated you to keep going were these kind of end users or was it this drive to kind of make a difference in the world? Or was it, the moment, like the support you were getting from people who were invested in it? Like what do you feel like made you say, okay, it's over, but I'm like still going to wake up the next day and keep pushing towards this goal?
So the superficial answer is obviously I wanted to do something really big with my life and help people. So I felt like, okay, this is my vehicle to do that. But the truth, like the primal human feeling that I would relate more to is that when you're building something that scales, it is so incredible. Now, when I think about 45,000 people in 190 countries, I imagine them. I live across from like a basketball stadium. I imagine all of those people in the stadium and it wouldn't fit them. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I created this thing where I could walk into a stadium and nobody knows, they probably don't even know who I am or whatever. But it's like, I got all those people into this place. I think that for me is really exciting. And so I think scaling something, and when you see something growing, progress is progress is happiness. So when you see something is progressing, you don't want to cut it. And I sometimes I find it really crazy when I'm with other entrepreneurs and they're like, "Oh, I just shut down my business," like, and they just like it's over, and I'm just like, wow, it's you just pull the plug on all these people and all this value. So it's funny when you think about user bases.
Yeah.
And we think about them as users. We don't think about them as like real people in a football stadium, like using something that you made, you know? So
Yeah. I'm going to use that now. Like when I'm truly
yeah.
like when I'm building, I'm going to be like, could these people fit in the stadium? Like, if not, keep going. I got more
Exactly.
value to give. So I want to talk a little bit deeper on relationships, because I think in any sort of marketplace, it's a huge part of the value add. But also, it sounds like early on you use certain relationships strategically to help you drive the product roadmap, to help you get more customers through the partnership. So how did you decide which ones were kind of worth these deep investments versus maybe ones where are more nice to have conversations?
Like who like
Yeah, like
judging
how
who
to
you're
spend your
talking to?
time. Yeah, like which relationships were worth you giving your like self into to get the value out. Because I just would imagine, as an entrepreneur, when you're starting out, there's probably a lot of people who have opinions, or a lot of people who would be willing to be beta customers. Or so
Yeah.
do you have any sort of like methods or ideas of how you decided where to spend your time in those relationships?
Yeah, I think this is the hardest part because you want to be the hero and do everything yourself, but it actually requires so many different people to help you, to open the door for you, to create something for you, to do you a favor. So I think what I found the most helpful is everything that was practical to me. So I rely heavily on Amazon Web Services. My relationship with Amazon was very important because they had first given me $1,000, then they gave me 3,000 in credits, then $3,000, then $5,000, then 10,000, and then 25,000, and then 100,000, then 150, then 200,000. So without that, I would have not been able to build my company, and
Yeah.
because I didn't have $200,000, I didn't have that money. So I didn't even know how to use a database or anything. So my lawyer, so important. Email services, whatever you need to start your business, you try to work with them and get discounts. And like, those are the most important people, is your service providers. People overlook them. They say, okay, I'm going to go raise $1 million and be fancy. You don't have to. You can also really have relationships with those that you're going to be spending the money on anyway that you need.
Yeah.
And then regarding kind of like, I encountered a lot of like really famous people or kind of tech celebrities early on. And it was really important for me because I felt like, oh, I'm so special. I went to Columbia. I am like this woman, like there's no tech women in tech. Like I thought I was really special. So I thought that it's like the opposite of imposter syndrome. So I thought
Overconfidence syndrome.
not overconfidence, but I just knew I was the right person for the job. And I thought that these big time people would see that right away. So I didn't get that validation that I wanted. And I felt really disturbed by that. I was like, I deserve to have the best VCs. I should have the best everything. And I ended up having different types of people that heroiced me through the journey, like very unlikely figures, people that were not relevant to my type of business. And I was able to piecemeal my first funding round and piecemeal my first team from unlikely subjects, and then really just get going. And then as I developed, then it was like, okay, now, oh yeah, Christina, I know her. She's been working on this thing. Like she's an amazing entrepreneur. And then you don't know that like I was crying in my bed from you,
Yeah.
from turning me down earlier. So they forget that. So I think, don't think that people remember things. They don't. So in your opinion, when you go back, you come back equal in that moment. You don't come back as like a kind of victim. And then you're able to really build that reputation that you want in the industry that you're trying to build in.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm writing that down as like a life skill. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, remember, like people don't remember that you embarrassed the heck out of yourself.
They don't remember any. It's so weird. They don't remember anything. All they remember is like, was she nice or not? You know, or like, does she have passion for what she's doing? Yes or no. That's it.
Yeah. Positive or negative. Makes sense. So when you are having these relationships and you're following up, how do you distinguish between like, this is kind of it's transactional and like, I feel that way versus you being able to build trust, like with these people? What were you offering them things? Was it really just based on reputation? Like what, advice or experience do you have really taking it from like the first conversation to like, they're hired or I'm getting revenue off of them or they're a, $10 million client, like that process?
I think it's so important to know who is going to be your customers. For someone like me that was like very passionate about building a product, I learned the hard way that the most important thing is who's going to keep your lights on. Like they say, for everybody to eat, somebody has to kill. So, so you as the founder, if you can put yourself in a sales role from the beginning, you're going to be much more successful for your team. You're like providing for everybody.
Yeah.
So, so you can't think that this is like going to be a magic bullet, especially now where cost of acquisition is much higher. So I think from my perspective, partnerships and business relationships are the easiest thing to get. You start knowing who your industry is, who the customers are, and you figure out what they need. And so usually my $1 million deals come from, hi, what do you need? I don't say anything, figure out what it is, go back, think about it, come back and offer them something that I can do for them. And that's like the safest way to have something sustainable, something that you're in control of, versus like somebody gives you $100,000 and you go put it on Instagram for ads and then it's done and your business is done. You're out of luck.
Yeah.
So I think being a part of it, I was really smart to start going to events. So I would be like, okay, I need to find out where these people are. And I would go to an event. And so I started to meet people. And then sometimes one of my customers took me 6 years before I got a deal with them. And it was a multi-million-dollar deal. But because 6 years I had been around, they trusted me by the time that came. And weirdly, the company has a rule that your business has to be in business for like 5 or 6 years before they, like, as a rule, to work with you.
Feels like you're really limiting their partnership capability, but
no, but this is a Fortune 100. So, I mean, there are sometimes that does happen, but I think it's what's in your control and who can you reach out to, and can you start to kind of just be curious about what they're looking for, what their problems are. Don't be like too much, but you'll start to get what they need. And then you can frame your business around the value propositions.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about like communicating that value clearly. Because it sounds like maybe there is some customization that you do. Do you try to do it very succinctly? Do you have like documents that you reference? Like talk me through how, maybe even especially for these larger enterprise clients, how are you getting the value of Scopio across, in an effective way?
So my first call, usually I'll just listen. I'll be like, what do you need? And they talk the whole time, ideally. And then what I realized was a big game changer is having decks. Like before I was like, decks are a waste of time. They're not helpful. Now I have like, I will spend money having a designer and making the best deck ever, and go and pitch that deck. And that deck will have all the information that they need, because what I need to do is empower the person in front of me to go to their boss or their manager. They need to have all the materials ready, and they should be like, here's an opportunity. This is the deck with all the information for this business. And that usually helps the most. And so I'm a big fan of decks and deck designers. And even companies hire Scopio to have like, we can have dozens or hundreds of designers working just for a bigger organization, like from Scopio. So we build out creative workflows like that. But sometimes what I realize is you need to put it in the person's spoon feed everything. Don't let anybody lift a finger. You want something, you make sure that they have everything they need in order to get that passed for you.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because I'm thinking about emails that I get from people asking me if I need this new IT service or this thing, and it's like when they have, here's all the information, here's the pricing, here's, all of those things right away. It's so much easier for me to go, oh, maybe I should do this than if it's kind of a generic thing that I know I'm going to have to go back and forth on and, ask a bunch of questions. So
yeah, but I would remove pricing. I don't like to put pricing in text.
True.
So
we're going to give the pricing model, not the like numbers specifically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you started small, obviously. Now you're big. How did your operational approach change so that, like, as you were growing, you still maintained the quality of relationships or quality of content that you had kind of started with?
It's the opposite. The quality got better once I became less valuable to the process, because you start bringing in experts. Like my creative director is excellent. My business director, excellent. My ops director, she's even better. So I just am like, guys, I have this meeting, then I get all the information I need. I know how to help them. And I'm just kind of the liaison. And, before I thought you have to solve the problem as the founder and entrepreneur. And then I realized, like, no, the best ones, you bring the problem and they solve it for you. Like, that's when you have a winning team. Yeah. But it is like a puzzle piece, because for me, I always say my favorite quote, and I say all the time, is teamwork makes the dream work. So before it was just my dream, and now it's like, I want it to be my team's dream. I want them to feel the impact of what we're doing, all the people we're helping, to see these artists for who they are, and to be really excited about, as I mentioned, building something cool that's growing. So I think that took it was a hard lesson for me, because I felt like I needed to work hard. And I realized, no, I just need to trust people and pick the right people that are doing a good job and support them.
Yeah. Do you have any, advice or strategies on how you can instill that kind of passion in your employees and in your team, whether it's during the hiring process, screening for certain things, or whether you have values that you post up on the wall, or, whatever it is?
I think personality is very important. Like, do you want to hang out with this person, and on a tough day, do you want to talk to them on the phone? And so that's like, I think it's just a very basic human quality when you're working with somebody. That's really what culture is like, can you guys work together even when you're having not the best day? And then I think you have to really respect their skill set. Like when I hear something and I respect the person, then I'm like, oh, okay. Like I have no reason not to, like, why would I disagree with you? But if you don't have respect for them, you don't feel like they're credible, then that's when the arguments kind of start, because you're just like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then you feel guilty because you hired them. And that's when it gets tough.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. I mean, even with people I work with, there are, the ones exactly what you're saying, the ones I respect everything they say. I'm so much more willing to take it at face value and just say, okay, than maybe otherwise. So one thing I want to ask about, because I think marketplaces are very unique in that you have two customers at all times that you're building for. So I want to hear a little bit about, like, what's kind of unique about building a marketplace versus any other product, and have you seen different challenges than like an entrepreneur might expect, building a marketplace versus a SaaS company or something like that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked this question. This is my favorite thing. If I had to like teach a class at Harvard, I would teach marketplaces because it is such a unique skill set. I always say I have twins. Like, I feel like I have twins.
Yeah.
Like I have two kids that are exactly the same. They both need me as much as each other.
Yep.
And I literally just go do back and forth and back and forth. And that's been literally my entire entrepreneurial journey of almost like 10 years now, is like, help this, then help this, then help this. And it's like, and it's weird because it's like so small, like that you need to go back and forth like this. It's not like jumps. It's not like I spend 1 year on this, 1 year on this. It's like really like every day. It's like 50% of the day is here, 50% of the day is here.
Yep.
So what is interesting is the supply side and your limits on supply for demand. So sometimes I'll think, oh, I don't have enough supply of this kind of thing. And then this company wants, like, now I have like a company that wants like 3D artists. I have like a few hundred. I need like 1,000 or 2,000. I'm like, can I get that in like a week? How am I going to do that? Okay. How do I use what I have to get those people on the platform? So like last month we grew like 8,000 people. I was like, wow, that's 8,000 people like that came in for this one subject. So, so I like the supply side, but it is overwhelming when you think about costs. So like when I was talking about the Amazon costs or whatever, I could have 1 million users on that want money and to have opportunities. I'm sure I could, but I was really careful because I'm like, if I get all these people, am I gonna have enough demand for them? So yeah, it's so fascinating. and it's so good because the supply side has so much value. Like we have a like per user, we have like identified their value. So we're like, Venezia has 3 skills. They're very valuable skills. We think she's worth $3,000 over her lifetime on Scopio. Some people will be like, they're a cute little hobbyist photographer in India. Maybe they'll make $300 throughout their lifetime on Scopio. So like it's we don't know what we're going to get paid for them or what it's going to be, but I see them as like a value that I always have as a backup. If the demand, something happens and you lose your customers or whatever, you still have this warehouse of things that you can sell basically.
Yeah. That's interesting, thinking about it as kind of a warehouse. I mean, it makes sense. Like it is supply. But in my mind with marketplaces, like it's always been, both sides are kind of human. Like, but it's interesting to think about it that way because I think you're able to optimize it like you would a warehouse of exactly what you're saying. Do we have enough supply for these clients or do we not?
This is my like my latest obsession is, so we have 38,000 businesses registered on Scopio, and then we have 45,000 artists. Now, let's say last year, 5,000 of those people got gigs from Scopio, and let's say 15,000 sold their images on the site. So I'm like, all these people are sitting there waiting for something to happen. So now with AI is so fascinating that you don't have to be in the middle of it. So we're building out a way where you can automatically find somebody and work with them and pay them. So this is like an agent, I believe, will multiply the value of connecting the people that are visiting Scopio. 400 million visits to my website. And if you need somebody to design, like I have customer, she wants to design, she wrote a 30-page kids book and she needs an illustrator. I have thousands sitting there waiting to be connected. So now the opportunity with AI is so cool. The agents be like, hey, why don't you work with Valentina in Colombia? Here's her rate. Done. And in 1 second, you've connected somebody in Colombia to somebody in New York. And now they're doing this amazing collaboration without you, and the payment goes through. And that's something that never was possible before this year, before like all of these changes in AI.
Yeah, which is interesting because you said you've been using AI from the beginning.
Yeah, so but you couldn't do proposals. Yeah, you couldn't do proposals, payments. Like the fact that it can interpret what you need from a creative perspective, which is usually very esoteric. Like it's emotional, usually what people need when it comes to art and design, you know, like I need a photographer for my wedding, but I want it to be a girl and I want it to be this. And like you have to, and then it's like, okay, but now OpenAI or whatever, Gemini can understand your need and synthesize that, which is what a services businesses is in the creative space.
Yeah. Cool. So To kind of wrap it up, I want to hear from you, like, what does long-term success look like for you as you continue building Scopio?
Well, there's obviously always your personal, as a founder, dreams and goals as a human, and then you have the company goals. So I decided, or I've grown into separating those. So, which is very important. Like
Mhm.
what I want to see success in my company and what I want to see myself as a leader in technology, or like a person in this world that wants to add value. So as long as I'm moving forward, I think on both of those fronts, like that, it's great. Like for example, I'm an author now. I'm writing my second book, If Women Ruled the World.
Congrats.
Thank you. This is actually I have it. My first one, which is $29 on Amazon, but it's literally his history book of 2020. It's awesome.
Oh, wow. With all
And
like
so,
art and stuff. Cool.
yeah, it's 200 art and stories from 2020 and all the crazy things that happened around the world. It's really interesting.
Wow.
So this is from Scopio, from the website. And so I was like, so I think of passion things like that, like how do I create more of a legacy from what I built versus like, as I was saying, like the friend that's like, oh, I built this user base and then I shut it down, whatever. Like that wasn't my intention with the business. So the next one is going to be very similar, but art and stories depicting all the world's problems solved by women ruling it in a new world. And it's all art and it's really funny. And it's publishing with HarperCollins in October and all major retailers. So I think about legacy from my personal side as it connects with the business. And then with the business, I really want to see more money going to artists, like just simply like, so right now, if I can do that on this subset, and if I could grow that with the new technologies that exist today, I feel so happy. Like I got one of the photographers send me a video of her wedding, and she's like, your project paid for my wedding. And she's like dancing, and I started crying. I was like, this is so real.
Yeah.
Like it's so real. So I don't have to wait. So I would love to see more of that kind of stuff flood to me, and that motivates. And then our team feels really good about what they're doing. So
Absolutely. You truly are making a difference. And that's such an awesome, truly, it's like such an awesome place to
thank
be
you.
as an entrepreneur. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important that you think about business as making money, but you have to think about like again, who are you serving? So I don't like love the social enterprises, like do things just kind of just to be a good person. Like I feel like it's good to build something like a real company, but it's also good to figure out who you're helping and what and how you can do that better.
Yeah. It's like operating in the capitalistic world with a humanistic
Yeah.
mindset. It's like,
Unfortunately, that's the way it, yeah, I would say it doesn't sound great to say that I'm operating as a capitalist, but
no, but I'm saying with a humanistic mindset, like you're
yeah,
focused on the people at the end of the transaction. It's like a great
yeah.
perspective to have.
It really cuts the fat out of a lot of things. Like, cause sometimes I really want to build out different features or products or whatever. And then like, it's not going to their hands. Like it's just a waste of money. Like, so it's just like, I really like to be straightforward and simple with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely driven you to success. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, cool, Christina. It was so nice to chat with you. I know I learned a lot about relationship building and marketplaces and all of that. And yeah, thanks for joining me on the Lion's Den.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone. Keep building.